So now he's president. What's the plan? First of all, it's shock and awe. That means he's going to say every outrageous and do every outrageous thing he can along with his cronies, his allies. So what does he do? He attacks DEI. He says that Native Americans aren't citizens and questions their citizenship. He illegally cancels birthright citizenship so that a federal judge has to block him, and the governors and the attorney generals in Democratic states are suing him. But even worse, he freezes trillions of dollars overnight, freaks out the whole system, almost tears down Medicaid, and also 2 judges had to block that executive order. And then what he does is blame the D.C. crash on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Even puts out an executive order saying that. Then he sends immigrants into a panic. Basically, he has immigrants hiding for their lives. He's putting them on big DC jets, planes, military planes to other countries and threatening countries' tariffs, punking Colombia into taking the deportees, telling El Salvador he's going to take them off you're going to take these people. Some of these people aren't even from El Salvador or Colombia, but fuck it, we're going to send it to you. Sending them off to Brazil. Then he's saying he's going to create a 30,000 Guantanamo Bay prison, where Cubans say, we ain't having it. He's still trying to pressure to get that done. He has also put the food growing industry, which the immigrants are the backbone of, into a tailspin. Eggs are running for $7 to $15 to $40, depending on their sizes. You got gas prices that ain't going down. You got everything that's really, the market is freaking the fuck out because of this guy. On top of that, with all the awe and shock that he's doing, everything that he can do to blame everybody but him is happening. In addition to that, if that wasn't enough, he's also creating these crazy back and forth tariff wars with Mexico, with Canada, which he just put 25% on each, and 10% tariffs on China. He's threatened to invade Greenland, Panama, okay? This is what he's doing. What's the plan of his crazy? Oh, there's a plan. Remember what I started this video with. What's the grift? You're so busy looking at this. And Steve Bannon talked about this years ago, who he pardoned. His goal is to create enough noise, enough press, so you don't see what's really going on. The other thing is that he's also released 1,500 of those traitorous people from January 6th who broke into the Capitol. He let them go. In fact, since some of them being let go were recharged again with gun issues. One guy was rearrested again for solicitation of a minor on online in the internet. Another person was unalived by a police officer because he was attacking a police officer. These are the people he let go. Offenders of police. As much as he says he loves the blue. And the Fraternal Order of Police, you want to talk about fuck around and finding out. Now they're finding out, as well as the fire department that supported him in New York. The 911 rescuers got their funding cut. VA benefits are about to be cut. Social Security about to be cut. And here's the grift. He's doing all of this stuff so that he has enough money for him and his other partners. Let me explain this a little further. We're going to get into details. Get a pen and paper if you want more details, okay? So here we go. He's doing all these things because there's almost $3 trillion in Social Security money. Realize our budget, our American budget, do not pay for Social Security. You know who does? We do. That FICA removal from our checks is them putting into Social Security. So now that we know that Social Security is something that they want to get into, loan against, they want to levy against, and they've done it before, and they don't want to pay back for it. They want to levy against that $2 trillion, $3 trillion to get money out of. But he's also done some other very clever things. He's not only messing with Social Security, what he doesn't want you to see is the 50-page document that cuts veterans benefits, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and the Affordable Care Act. Why does he want to cut that? Because he's mean? He's a racist? No. It's because if you cut that, you can divert the money elsewhere. Why do you think his whole family is refusing to be involved in public service? Oh, I would just want to be with family. I don't want to be there in public service. It's not for me. No, they're the bag man. Who's the bag man? The one who's getting the money in the dark money. Oh, this is where it's going to get interesting. You see, it's not the racism. Remember, racism is an economic thing. It's money. The only reason they don't want the brown people here because they don't want them getting money and they don't want them getting political power and control of trillions. America's worth $150 trillion. $150 trillion. So they want a piece of that money. They want to get as much as they can. Donald Trump is designing himself to do a $100 billion plus heist at the very least. You see, he was worth $2 billion over the last several years, but now he's going to be worth 200 if he gets away with it. And the way he's going to get away with it is he's going to have his family off to the side getting the dark private money. Don't believe me? Look up Jared Kushner, $1 billion Saudi. They've been able to do this before, and now they're really able to do this. They're designing this to get a ton of money in a bag while throwing people they don't want in their group down and appeasing their main base. When their main base sees that you're cooperating with the ideology of prejudice, racism, misogyny, homophobia, xenophobia, they're in alignment. I mean, think about how much misogyny they're agreeing with. There's a white blonde woman who's 27 years old who's the White House press secretary saying she's getting rid of DEI and wokeness. This stupid chick doesn't even know that she's up on that stage because of DEI and wokeness. Because as anybody knows in the black community, and you can look this up, the number one benefactor of civil rights, affirmative action, and DEI wokeness are white women. And she's just undercut everybody. She's a blonde Clarence Thomas. And he's getting more people like that to hold back everybody else and appease his tens of millions of people, because his tens of millions of people aren't interested in building America. They're interested in tearing America down. These are people who claim to love America but clearly can't stand Americans. Want you to respect the blue unless they're breaking into the Capitol and absolutely attacking the blue, and want to be unjailed and freed to do whatever they want, while at the same time saying that black and brown people need to be in chains. Why are they doing this? For money. Why are they doing this? For control. $150 trillion industry. And the Democrats are stupid. Yes, I worked on Kamala Harris' campaign, and I have an absolute belief that the Democrats are stupid. They're saying things like, yes, maybe it was the economy. No, what he brilliantly did was hide prejudice, racism, misogyny, homophobia, and xenophobia behind the economy. In addition to that, what they're also doing is falling for the, well, maybe it was immigration. No, bitch. It had to do with there being brown people who were getting control of this country through their hard work and efforts, straight up, honestly, and they were getting screwed over. And they wanted to stop that at any cost whatsoever. Not for the sake of really poor white people, but for the sake of themselves, because they make a bag when they put brown people in chains. They can tax whoever they want when they put brown people in chains, just like they've been doing with black people for 160 years. Now let's talk about the big heist, the big money he's going to make. Yes, we're talking about dark money with his family, where some country, name any country you want to in the world, can pay his family and things could happen. They're corporations, domestically and internationally. If you think for 1 second on TikTok's getting saved because there's a nice deal and Trump ain't getting a piece of that, his family ain't getting a piece of that, you're out your freaking minds. Think about it. They're in talks with Microsoft and Oracle to take over TikTok. Whether it happens or not, the whole idea is that they're getting a piece of that. Do you know what Oracle's named after? Look it up on the web if you think I'm lying here at ChatGPT. Oracle's named after a project that Larry Ellison did with the CIA. The same people who are claiming that TikTok's trying to take your data is trying to take your data. It's a gangster move. And let's talk about the ultimate grift, because I haven't said anything about Elon. What's interesting about Elon and Trump and what they have in common is that at one point, both were saying that blockchain and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency were a scam. You got videos on it right here on YouTube talking about it. You know what the crazy part about that is? They're trying to get blockchain and cryptocurrency regulated here in America under their rule. When I say regulated, I don't mean regulated. I mean, they're trying to turn cryptocurrency from a security into a commodity. In other words, they're trying to create an environment that happened in 2008. They're trying to create an environment that could be disastrous. Do you realize that inside of a overnight sleep, that cryptocurrency could go from 100,000 down to 3,500? And they're trying to put our nation under that currency and make blockchain. Even worse, Elon Musk is trying to make blockchain for our national budget. You know what the majority of our national budget is? The DOD. I think either one of them could get JFK behind that. Because the reason JFK got taken out is because he was, one, taking out the military leadership, the intelligence community leadership, and he was trying to limit the funding that was happening for Vietnam War. What is Trump trying to do? Limit the funding for Ukraine. What's he trying to do? Change up the military and the intelligence leadership. And now you got Elon Musk trying to put blockchain on the budget under the DOD, Department of Defense. Oh no, Elon's flying too close to the sun. But Trump, because he's president, he might get away with it. He might. If people aren't looking clearly at the signs. The biggest sign you got to look at with Trump is what is it that you don't see? It's not what we're looking at. It's what we don't see. We don't see the dark money going to his family. I can't say that on other channels. TikTok wouldn't dare let me say this because they're afraid. We can't see the blockchain, crypto money that's really going out there. See, the reason he becomes worth hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, is through the way he's always done. That's why he got in trouble in New York and got hit with that $400 million fraud suit. Because what he was doing was hyping up his real estate and his property holdings to loan against them. That's what wealthy people do. That's not illegal. But here's the thing about loan. Here's what they do. And if you look at his friend, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it basically, he talks about this all the time. What wealthy people are doing is they're buying some big piece of property or some big asset. They'll put 30% down or a fraction, and they will be able to loan it based upon the asset's performance, not their personal wealth and credit, but the wealth of the asset. Now, follow me here. So if his meme coin has him worth $10 billion, that's great. He's never going to sell it. He hasn't sold his stock on DJT. He hasn't sold his stock. Why? He wants it to go through the roof. Both. Why? So he can loan against it. Why does he want a loan? Because loans aren't taxable, y'all. That's how wealthy are keeping wealthy and not paying taxes. Another thing to understand is that companies, and you can do this too in your business. Listen, I'm a leftist, but I'm a capitalist, and I'm telling you, you can loan. Here's how it goes. Companies are not taxable on gross; they're taxable on net. But American individuals are taxable on gross. So you make $100,000, that's 39% tax. Might as well call it 40%. But if you make $100,000 as a corporation, you can give all sorts of expenses to take things down that are tax deductible. maybe rent, it may be this, it may be that. There's a variety of things that they can do where all of a sudden that $100,000 gross. And look at any balance sheet of any major company. That's why, and I used to wonder that before I got into business. I used to wonder, wait a minute, why has this company made $100 million, but now on their profit margin they've made $7 million? Because if they spend these other expenditures, other investments, put this other money elsewhere, it's not considered capital gains tax. So they end up taking this money down, and it looks like, wow, they're making a nice piece of money, but they could make a lot more. But they don't want to make a lot more because they get taxed a lot more. So where do they put the money? They put it into other assets. This is what Robert Kiyosaki doesn't even teach it because it's legal. It's legal. You can put your money. You make 50 million, you make 50,000. You can put it into an asset. It's not considered capital gains. Again, consult with a tax professional. I'm not one, but I'm giving you the game and you can look it up. It's probably right here on YouTube. They got a ton of game being taught. And they're teaching you, how do you loan against that money? You basically take that 50,000, put it into an asset, and then you're able somehow, whether it be now or through time, if it's real estate, you might put a down payment on a 150,000 piece of property and you get a loan out of it. And the idea is to somehow raise the net operating income and be able over 1, 2, 3, 5 years, turn that into something that's worth more, where you can get 80, 90% loan out of it, pay off the original loan, and you have that original 50,000 you put in and you didn't pay no taxes on, and you got it in the form of a loan, so you don't have to pay tax on that. Well, what Trump is doing, explaining all of this, what Trump is doing, Trump is getting tens of billions, at the very least, at the most, maybe hundreds of billions, through his family on the back end, as well as straight up front with creating all these assets he's creating during presidency, like the meme coin and the blah and the blah. And he's not selling anything. The way he makes money is when he puts these mega loans against you. Plus, it's his prestige. He's using the power of the presidency. Who's not going to loan money to the president of the United States worth tens of billions of dollars? Answer, nobody. And for the next 4 years, he's doing a money grab, because if he puts money into, him and Elon put money into crypto. They put the blockchain in. Elon could be worth $1 trillion easy. He was already on his way to $1 trillion, but he's worth a couple of trillion. And Trump could equally be worth at least a couple of $100 billion. I did a white paper on how Trump became president in 2016. Then I did another one following up called How Did He Become President in 2020? And in 2020, everybody argued with me, said, oh, no, he's defeated. He's going to jail. I said, that man's not going to jail. Now, as a black person, we often say, well, he's not going to jail because he's a white man. That's part of it. But there's a bigger part of that. He knows the government system, and he played it very well. He played the courts very well. Bravo, it was a smart move. He played it very well. He delayed the courts and just totally disabled the DOJ. Notice what he did when he first got in office. He got rid of the inspector generals. He also got rid of the DOJ people, 40 DOJ members of the DOJ who were part of prosecuting him. This man ain't playing. He's breaking down, he's deregulating everything. He's taking down all of the people he know who could investigate him or investigate anything of any of his people. He removed the legislation that said the executive orders by Biden that says you can't accept gifts as a government official. Then he hired 5 former lobbyists. He's doing a grift, and he's getting his other people to get in place to do the grift. And he's insulating himself because he's not doing it directly, but he's got his family in private, and he's got people in public office loyal to him who wouldn't dare open their mouths because there's no way in the world that they should have got that job. Some of these nominees, there's no way in the world they should have got it. But they are eternally grateful because they knew damn well there's no way they would have got it. Hegseth, who's now our Department of Defense, is removing all DEI stuff right now from the Department of Defense. Women's history, black history, everything. He's removing Black History Month, MLK, Juneteenth, everything. Everything. And he'll do whatever Trump says, because there's no way in the world without Trump he would have been able to do this and be in this position. Here's the other big part of the money that nobody talks about. Once you are in public office in a high profile thing, Hegseth can go to the private sector and earn millions in speaking gigs and consultancy. So can any of these other people in major positions. Even Kamala. Kamala can go off. She's vice president. She can go off, get millions from speaking gigs. Here's what happened. You had Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are worth $150, $200 million because they could do speaking gigs. Goldman Sachs paid. That's what killed her in the 2016 because he called her out because she got tens of millions speaking at Goldman Sachs. Big money, big money, big money. When you leave public service, you make a bag, whether you're on the Democratic or Republican side. So he's got a lot of money he's going to make even after presidency. And he's got money he's making, dark money, with his family. And he's got the people in place to make money for him, under him, and make sure that he's taken care of indirectly. And when you talk about cryptocurrency and blockchain, we're talking about trillions. It's a bag. It's a grab. It's a heist. In my next video, I'm going to talk about what we're doing to fight it. But now you know what to look for. This is the game. When you hear, oh, DEI, yeah, okay. That's the hype. What's going on behind the scenes? What about that 50-page bill that they're trying to pass? That big bill that gets rid of Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, at the very least reduces it, as well as going for it and trying to make sure they limit Social Security and veterans benefits. And I know some of you might say, well, you're lying. No, am I? Then why is Elon Musk trying to access payment systems to Social Security and Medicare right now as we speak? And one of the top people out the Treasury, okay? I think it's David Lebowitz. Forgive me, I mess up his last name all the time. But this is a guy who's been in the Treasury Department for 30 years and don't like the way they've been asking him questions. And they have been very inquisitive. They tried to freeze trillions of dollars as I do this video the third week of January, the second week of his presidency. And of two federal judges, two had to stop him. You got the AGs and the governors suing. It's a big grift to grab all the money. It's a big grift to turn this into cryptocurrency and blockchain. It's a big grift to go after everything and be able to do it while you have your people here and the dark money people, who's his family. He's building a legacy of 100 billion plus. How do we fight that? What ways are we fighting that? Now you know what to look for. I'll talk about that in the next video. Follow me for more.